Sound off like you got a pair.
And welcome back to the Retro Review. I am the Bearded Geek. Joining me as always is Bebo.
What's up?
And Steve.
Hey!
Today we are going to be reviewing the movie The Frightners. Bebo, why don't you tell us a little bit about this movie?
Basically, it's a movie that stars Michael J. Fox. He is basically a paranormal investigator. He can see dead people. Basically, he can see ghosts, and he has a few that he uses to drum up business, shall we say, in his town to try and make ends meet. And throughout the movie, he ends up finding basically a Grim Reaper style ghost that's going around killing people by strangling their hearts, basically, and then killing their ghosts as they are there. But he is basically trying to figure this out, and throughout the process, finds out that the Grim Reaper is a serial killer ghost.
Johnny Bartlett.
Johnny Bartlett, played by none other than the son to Gary Busey.
Gary Busey, yeah.
Jake Busey.
Point of order. The Grim Reaper does not actually kill the ghosts right there. Ray would be a prime example of that. The man in the bathroom actually ascends right to heaven, as I believe does the lady from the paper. But don't mind me,
Okay.
as I've seen this movie like 100 million times and absolutely love Peter Jackson.
Who? Just kidding. But it's basically it's a movie about him trying to basically solve what's going on with the killings in this town. He starts seeing people who have numbers carved in on their forehead, which was the signature of the serial killer when the serial killer was still alive. But it was overall an interesting movie. I want to see what your guys' takes were on it. What about you, Bearded Geek?
Oh, dude, this is it's a Michael J. Fox movie to begin with, so I love me some Michael J. Fox in just about everything he's been in, so I love this movie as well. And anytime I see Jake Busey, I don't think of Starship Troopers or any of the other movies he's been in. He's always Johnny Bartlett to me. Every time I see him, he's always Johnny Bartlett. Got me a score of 12, Patty. Just I've always found that intriguing. This whole movie intriguing. The ghosts that are with Michael J. Fox, they're the comic relief, especially the judge. The judge with the jaw missing and the corpse
John
dog.
Astin?
Yes.
Yeah. And the corpse dog who's always chewing on his jaw. That's always funny. Uh, and then like you said, it's just one of those. It's I don't even want to say this is horror. It's more comedy spooky, not horror. I would say comedy spooky.
I would
Uh,
agree.
than anything horror. But it's one of those movies that you can sit down and watch and just enjoy and not have. It's a family friendly movie as well. So, Steve, what would you say about this? I think it's a family friendly.
I think this movie's a little spooky and might scare children. I love this movie. I saw it in its an original run in the movie theater. This would probably be the first movie that I saw Chi McBride in.
Same here.
This is probably the first movie that I remember seeing Arlie Ermy in, only because I was too young for Full Metal Jacket. Probably the first movie I remember seeing Jeffrey Combs in. We're just going to just start naming people. There's no related reels today,
Yeah.
so we're throwing it out the window. Now, obviously, Back to the Future is the first movie I remember Michael J. Fox from. For me, probably Contact. I'm not sure which came out first, Contact or this, for Jake Busey. But it's a great cast. I absolutely love it. And there's so many things that I just love from my childhood. This film is kind of quotable. I wouldn't say it's very quotable because I wouldn't say, I couldn't come up with a handful of them right now, but if I'm sitting there, I could tell you what's coming. If I smoke a cigar, I'm gonna blow my lungs in your face. No, I love this movie. I think it's great. There's a bunch of fun things, and I'll ask Bebo because I asked the bearded geek and he did not know. Bebo, do you know about the director cameo in this movie?
No.
Oh, the 2 for 2. Peter Jackson makes a cameo in The Frighteners as the man with the pierced nose wearing the Grim Reaper t-shirt that bumps into Michael J. Fox.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All right.
I don't have a podcast of my own talking about movies and been part of another podcast talking about movies for nothing, ladies and gentlemen.
I get it. That's why he's on this show talking about movies, because he's as much as we have an expert around here. So
You know
there we
what?
go.
I will tell you the number one line I quote from this movie, and it is always to my brother: "My body is a roadmap of pain." That is
That's a good one.
that is a line I continuously text to my brother.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, so let's move on to ratings. Bebo, this was your movie. What would you rate this movie?
I've always liked this movie from the first time I saw it. Like many, I would say this was the first thing I ever saw Jake Busey in, and definitely Shy McBride. But I thought the cast was great. I thought the story was good in it. I like sort of the suspense. I love the comedy in it. It was absolutely hysterical, and stuff. I thought it was the one thing that threw me off was seeing E.T.'s mom in it. Well, not E.T.'s mom, Elliot's mom from E.T. I saw that look from Steve.
Where? No. Who does she play in the movie?
Johnny Bartlett's girlfriend.
Holy jeez!
Yeah.
All grown up. That's the mom from E.T.
Yep.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, she actually got the part because I think it's something else she did, but they wanted. They basically chose her because of her role on E.T., the mom on E.T. They didn't think people would expect her to be like an accomplice of his and stuff like that. How it ended up being towards the end of the movie. So
Sure.
that's how they got her in there. But yeah, so overall, love the movie. It's a great movie. It is a movie I feel like I could watch anytime it's on TV or at any time. Absolutely love it. So I'm going to rate this for myself. I'm going to give it an 8.5.
8.5. That's fair. That's fair. I'll go ahead and go next. This is a movie I would recommend to people. It's shot very well. The graphics, the special effects are done really well in this movie, I believe. Even for being 90s, I thought this was a great graphics in this movie. Um, and I do like the twist with the girlfriend, because at first you think she was forced into it, but at the end you see she was definitely an accomplice, taking people out as well. And great twist. So I'm gonna, man, 8.5. 8.5 is probably where it's land. I want to give it a 9, but I can't give it a full 9.
So why
8.5.
not just give it a 9?
I just can't give it a 9. I don't think it's up there with some of the other really, really good movies. This was a good movie, but it's not what you would expect a 9 to be. I think 8.5 is right where it should fall. Steve, how about you? What would you rate it?
9. I think this movie is a 9 easily.
I was waiting for Steve to be like 10,
Yeah.
a fucking 10.
10.5 if I can give it. Sound off like you got a pair. There's another quick. I just keep coming up with the quotes as they come. Or we could just call the whole thing even for the fence.
Got me a score. It got me a score 8.5. I'm good.
Get out of here. got me a score at 9. How do you get a score at 8.5? Do you just like cut off an arm and a leg and you're like,
the 0.5 was a kid.
That 8.5 is you kill them and then bring them back to life.
There you go.
That's because it's a half a life. No, I love this movie. I could play this movie all the time. I always laugh. I think it's great. For the longest time, I thought that the geeky guy was Hugh Laurie, but he's not. Which I thought was even funnier once I started watching House, because Chi McBride is in like the first season of House. There's a bunch of great things, like the mom from the House is in Starship Troopers with Jake Busey. Like there's so many just random movie connections of people that are in this movie with other people. I could talk about this movie for hours. I absolutely love it. It's in, you know what, 9.5. I love this
9.5.
movie. It's so great.
All right.
9.5. I talked myself into
Got
it.
you a score of a 9.5. I get you.
Do we have any memorabilia? Is that what we're doing next? Is that
we do have memorabilia, but it
oh!
is time. It is time for fun facts, though. Bebo, do we have any fun facts?
No.
No,
I'm just kidding.
facts? Okay.
I got a couple here. The story was originally written as actually a Tales from the Crypt feature. When executive Robert Zemeckis read it, he realized it was too good and needed to be made into its own film, which I would agree with. Let's see. Kind of a funny Back to the Future reference. Michael J. Fox needed many takes to get his scenes with John Aston Wright. Rather than calling him Judge, he accidentally called him Doc on several takes. So they had to keep redoing that. And in regards to Michael J. Fox, he was the only actor considered for the role of Frank Bannister, and no other auditioned for the part. Even though he was the first choice, and they definitely wanted him to be in the role, just in case he didn't take it, they did have other actors in mind that they wanted. Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp, Matthew Broderick, and Danny DeVito.
Oh my God, Danny DeVito.
The only one of those I think could have properly done it is
Matthew Broderick. Broderick. Yeah.
But in regards, this was not one that I had chosen for tonight. But since you mentioned about the graphics and stuff, this film is actually what helped Peter Jackson into Lord of the Rings, because for this film, with everything that was needed, they went from using one computer to 25 computers for all the special effects and stuff. And it said it helped him whenever they started doing Lord of the Rings, because he had already gotten that set up. So
very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I do have some movie memorabilia here. First up is The Frighteners, music from the motion picture by Danny Elfman. That's another thing. When this movie starts off, I get a very Tim Burton-y feel to this movie, but I think a lot of it has to do with the Danny Elfman music.
Tim Burton was a director they were thinking about for this as well.
Yeah, I get it. You can get The Frighteners motion picture music for $57.95 and free 3-day shipping. Then you have the Frightner shrink wrap gum card box, which is basically trading cards, for $199.99 plus $10.20 shipping.
They're overcharging. If you want to pay that much, I got a box of Batman Forever sealed cards that I'll sell you.
And then you have the Frighteners rare lenticular teaser poster. I definitely want one of these, but I am not spending $899 and with $50 shipping for a lenticular poster.
So you know what I realized I just had?
What's that? What do you got there? Don't tell me he has a poster. If you got a poster, Steve, come on. I don't want some dare. So now I'm just talking just to talk. Oh, while he's digging through some things, what do you have here, buddy? What do you got?
As I take forever.
Yeah, what do you got, man? It is.
I have an original Frighteners movie button.
That is awesome. That is really cool. Movie button from who did the buttons? AMC?
Everyone. AMC,
Everyone?
Edwards. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a little bit on the back that says like 96.
96.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That is really cool. I
That's
like
why it
that.
took me a minute. I got a whole bunch of them. I got a bunch of original ones.
That's really cool. All right, what do we have? I know I mentioned the CD for the music. What do
Yeah.
we have for
Well,
music from the movies?
other than Danny Elfman doing the main soundtrack, you have "Don't Fear the Reaper" by the Mutton Birds, which is
Okay.
done for, I believe, for the credits. You also have "Superstar," which is performed by Sonic Youth. Those are going to be the two main actual songs from the soundtrack that were on the film, other than all of the music done by Danny Elfman.
All right. Very cool.
Very
Very
cool.
cool. All right, guys, as we come to a close, Steve, where can people find you on your podcast?
Well, Bearded Geek, people can find me on my podcast of the last podcast you'd want. When we decide to let it go, we're gonna try and start doing it every week, but you never know. You find us for your ears on every major podcast outlet, just like this show, and on YouTube. The last podcast you'd want. Tip the field, try the staff. Thank you very much for coming. Hey, if you did it, better luck next time.
That is right. Steve just did mention that this show is now on every major podcasting network. If you are listening to it, find us on YouTube. We have a video show as well. All right, guys, I do believe that does it for this episode of Back to the Retro Review. So for Bebo and Steve, I am the Bearded Geek saying, keep it retro, everybody.